Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl, Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
You're one breakthrough away from your next six-figure year. Maybe it's a better offer, a sharper sales process, or finally cracking client acquisition. Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets, where every single week we hand you the strategies, frameworks, and real-world plays that are working right now for coaches just like you. I'm your host, the Road Dog, with the guy who texted me this weekend. Hey, Road Dog, I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised. Karl, Bryan. Shoots, welcome to the show.
Shoots. Pulling out the dad jokes, bud.
There you go. She looked surprised. There it is, bud.
Wifey will be impressed.
There you go. It's getting a shout out early in the pod. There you go, buds.
Should be very pleased. Well done. How you doing, Shoots? What's going on?
Life is full. Life is hectic and busy as busy can be, my friend. So, but it is all good. 2026 will be a year that I will not forget. So let's just leave it there.
There we go, Shoots. Well done. Anywho, what do we got going on?
Well, you know what? Call me crazy, which you often do, but people love the word association, and I kind of thought maybe we start there. I don't know. Shoots, what do you think? Do you want to? Are you good with that? If I do a little word association with you?
Let's do it, bud.
Okay.
Give the crowd what they want, bud. Give the crowd what they want.
Yeah. Hey, this is podcasting 101. Give the people what they want. Okay, when I say the word respect, this is what? Road Dog, respect. How does that tie into business coaching? Well, let me introduce Karl Rabbit Hole Bryan to you folks, and I'm sure he'll find a way. Respect, Shoots. I know that we casually had a conversation about it. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, yes. Look, major issue specifically for masculine men. So I think some people might have their ears up. It's just so my dad was a professional gambler when I was growing up. So I got exposed to all kinds of, outside the box thinkers, let's call it. Maybe you could call them, mafia types, like the name Buffalo and Big Dick and all kinds of crazy names. Right. And I can tell you, this is my own personal C-red kryptonite, and it might be on the back of the fact that my father raised me. So two things that are very seldom to come together. Said this many a times, but I'll continue to say it. Two words: old and rich. Often you meet old people and often you meet rich people. Very seldom that you meet an old and rich person. Like, the ultimate respect is paid not to those who make it, but it's paid to those who make it and keep it. With that said, that makes me think of a powerful line. I have something that you'll never have. ... enough. All right. And then take enough and, put it in quotes and underline it, italicize it, bold it, etc. So sort of like there's an old story, like the lifetime ruler versus the self-destructive ruler. The lifetime ruler, think of a king who understands when they have enough can rule a lifetime. Why? He preserves health, reputation, kingdom, focused on sustainability rather than constant expansion, let's put it that way. And then you've got the self-destructive ruler, and that's the king who chases more next, more and more, right? More property, more power, more pleasure, right? And what happens is it triggers their own downfall through overextension, greed, or by creating fatal enemies. So I just say, so again, just think of that, right? So the lifetime ruler versus the self-destructive ruler really come down to my old framework of coaching, where you need a starting line and a finishing line. The hardest thing that you'll ever do is answer the question, what do you want? You ask somebody what they want, and they will invariably start talking about what they don't want. And remember, the goal is not to build a monster business. But most people, they're trying to get big so they can get rich, and that's not the way the story tends to end. So the goal is not to build a big business, not to build a monster business. The goal is to create an awesome life, right? And the words of my father, who lives in Mexico, coincidentally, your ego is not your amigo. So I just say careful to let respect dominate you. And yes, this is the kryptonite of the average masculine man. And I would caution you against that. I think if you look at it, probably get you into a little bit of trouble that you didn't need. So anyways, yeah, there you go, Shoots. That's
Well,
my
natural pivot off of that. When it comes to having enough, I'll give you another word, or maybe perhaps some numbers. 401k, Shoots. 401k.
don't do this to me, Shoots. 401, like you got to be careful here, right? I am no expert. The average American place all their money into their 401k, right? Other countries call it something different, same framework. 401k is a bet on the stock market, probably 75% or more. And then you've got a lockup where you can't get the money out until you're like 65. I think it might be 63 at the end of the day until you're, mid 60s, right? So if you're 40, that's like, 25 years, not liquid. And then you pay penalties for taking it out early. Yes, it should go up over time. But what happens if 2008 happens right when you hit retirement age, right? After having it locked up for 25 years, thank you very much. Could you imagine that dynamic? Back to work for 5 to 10 years while it grows, or you take it out with 50% of what you built out, right? Plus, you have to pay tax on a 401k when you take it out. If you take that same amount of money and you invest it privately, like you invested into business, you invested into real estate, you invested into private investments, you'd likely be significantly better off over the long term. Zero guarantees, of course, but that's what the numbers would suggest. Whenever the government is control of something, you can likely guess it's not advantageous for the average person. 401k and, retirement type accounts tend to fall into that. And remember, your largest expense in your life, my life, Road Dog's life, everybody's life is tax. Got to educate yourself. But yeah, 401k, I'll leave that one there. That's what I'd say about that.
So you mentioned invest in business. So here's a good question for you. Let's say that, because we get this question quite a bit, and I think it's a beauty. I know we've talked about it before, but do you start a business or do you buy a business? Right? What's the go-to move here, bud? It's a tough one, right?
Okay. I would agree. Tough one. Let's think it through logically. Look at the stats, right? The data, right? Don't go with your gut. Gut stands for what? Gave up thinking. Businesses fail within the first 2 years, right? 80% don't make it to 5 years. Those that do make it to 5 years tend to stick around, right? So it's the Lindy effect. The Lindy effect is that the longer something has been around, the longer it's likely to be around, right? So should you start a business or buy one that's been around longer than 5 years? The business that's been around for 5 years, when you buy them, you're kind of bunny hopping that dangerous 2 to 5 year window where businesses fall over, right? And why why is that? You're buying clients at full retail when you start a company, and then think of it as you're buying clients at wholesale when you acquire, right? Like Elon didn't start Tesla, he didn't start Twitter and then rename it X. He bought them, right? Zuck didn't start Instagram, he didn't start WhatsApp, he acquired them. The billionaires don't start generally, they acquire. So let's get this back on the tracks. Like your clients, they could look for other complementary businesses to acquire for what I would probably describe as pennies on the dollar. Now you got to be careful here. The second business eats the first. So the frame that you got to go is the second business needs to feed the first, right? So look where businesses are available for pennies on the dollar, guide them, and you could likely help your client 5x, 10x, 20, 25x if done well. But again, needs to be done well, needs to be smart. It's the silver tsunami, they call it, right? Where businesses are, like folks are getting that at age and their kids don't want to take over the business, or they don't, they no longer have the energy or the wherewithal to keep pounding along. Those businesses, those folks are looking to exit. Again, the silver tsunami. And there's some wonderful opportunities right here, right now, no question. So, shoots, if I had to give you an answer, it would be, probably buy versus start, but slippery slope shoots.
Okay, well, there you go. It is a tough one because people are like, "Oh, you're buying somebody else's headaches." Yeah, but you're also buying somebody else's trial and error for multiple years. So there is that aspect as well, right? So,
There we go.
um,
100%.
you mentioned Zuck and your boy Elon. We all know he's your boy. Speaking of billionaires, why don't we dive into that for a second? What do you think? Advice a billionaire would give you in 10 seconds or less.
Oh, shoots. The counter. Well, one of my best friend's dads would fall into this category very close to. I'll tell you, billionaires use, okay, this is good because you think about starting versus acquiring. Billionaires use other people's money, other people's time, other people's abilities. Think of that in a 1, 2, 3. Other people's money, 1, other people's time, 2, other people's abilities, 3. What they don't say is that if you want something done properly, you need to do it yourself, right? You're not going to hear a billionaire saying that. And by the way, build a business you could sell tomorrow, but don't want to. Billionaires have generally owned their businesses for multiple decades. They don't start them and then exit for a large sum. And that's certainly not the game plan going in. And by the way, that's generally, right? What do? They look for trends like AI and build businesses where the puck is going, where the ball is going. So there, shoots, how'd I do? Is that 10 seconds or less?
Well, close enough for you. If it's anything like less than 5 minutes, it's typically a win. Shoots. That's kind of how we operate here. Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Obviously, AI. Everybody's talking AI, right? Like if you're not like me, I'm knee deep in AI. But I want to ask you, what's a problem you see coming from AI? And as you like to say, the ball rolling in the street.
Oh, um, good question is what I would say. Okay, I'm going to start with this. AI rock stars are using AI to build hyper scale platforms that are so awesome they would make your eyes water, right? But that's the 5% and not the people working with local business owners that we serve, right? Lots of problems that could be like the problem expected with new technology. AI is awesome when used right, but it's also a yes man, right? Like it reminds me of the guy online talking all year about how he's crushing it. And then January posts about how challenging last year has been, right? Like literally comical. Um, so let me give you a problem, or maybe described as a big opportunity that is coming. And it's going to be professionals to come in and clean up AI messes. Just like large tattoos are the craze, right? Well, what do you think's coming? The removal of tattoos is going to be a wicked opportunity, right? Like grandma's tats are just not going to age well. It's a bit of a 101. Shout out to the grandmas, by the way, who got tats. Um, so AI is going to have kind of the same dynamic. Like an example is an amateur AI guy building websites and building AI agents. It's built in an hour and costs very little, but the problem, they're easy to set up, but far more challenging to manage back end, right? So you save on the front end and then it costs you back end. An AI agent with no memory, agentic orchestration, governance, logs, guardrails, audits, a command center, like an AI rock star. It's called a vibe coder, can do all of this right, but 90% are not rock star vibe coders, and they're learning on the job behind, quite frankly, what I would call powerful marketing. Very, very sexy to put your hand up, right? Because the barrier to entry right now is so low. It'll correct itself, but right now I would describe it as the wild, wild west right now out there with AI. Experts pitching SaaS AI agents and web type solutions. They know nothing about back end, right? So things are easy to start, hard to finish. Might kind of, describe it. I should also mention the potential liability. Like AI agents, programs, and websites built in the legal profession, pharmaceuticals, medical, investments and securities, mental health and therapy type practices, firearms, ammunition. Like what could go wrong with amateurs at the helm? right? Like, ouch, zoinks. Translation, they pay $2,000 to build an AI solution like an agent, and will spend 10 times that to get a professional to come in and fix it. And by the way, not 10 times, but 100 times. So, and large companies have had their entire databases deleted where they got no compliance, right? Like AI stories about that are all over the place. Again, they saved on the front end and then cost themselves what could potentially be hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end with mistakes. And yes, again, that is happening. And yes, it is an opportunity that I would dare say will come to fruition. Even like people talking about how they eliminated roles, contractors, and expensive people because AI saved the day. We'll be hiring people to clean up the messes. Big opportunity for professionals to come for sure. Just again, like tattoos, right? Tattoo removal. Electric scooters comes to mind, right? You buy it cheap and then the lithium battery dies, right? That's why you see piles and piles of electric scooters and e-bikes, right? Recycling those batteries and reusing the raw material is a natural. So see AI as gasoline. Use AI for the mock-up done in record time and get it right, and then build the site properly so that it's not a nightmare to manage day to day, right? Like a proper back end. And that's going to take a pro. And by the way, what I'm not saying is don't use AI, just to be very, very clear. What I am saying is don't use non-professionals using AI. And I'd be the guy on Facebook sprouting about how amazing he is. It's like 2000, right? I offshored my 7-figure business's customer support to India. Lots of others did the same. It was 100% on trend. Was problematic to say the least. I saved money short term and lost money long term to fix the problem that I didn't anticipate. And so did many others. So, and also I want to repeat, AI pros are using AI to build platforms that hyperscale. They'll blow your mind with what they can do, but those are not the people or solutions I'm talking about, right? Local business owners don't have access to these people. They're buying off of their Facebook feed, buying off their cousin's friend who took an AI course kind of thing. Look, guardrails need to be put in place like security and database protection, or like don't even start. Guide your clients as such. But bottom line is that I do see a big opportunity with AI to go in, cleaning up these AI vibe coding type messes for sure. What do you think, Shoots?
Yeah, it's interesting. I can definitely see that. Just even myself playing around different platforms and stuff, the amount of errors and everything else that you get, and all the things that can break and whatnot. But you mentioned something interesting, outsourcing to India. I always thought, wow, isn't it fascinating how all the work that we've outsourced in the past is basically all being put to a robot now. But that said, and not just for the Indian job market, what do you think 5 years from now? More jobs, less jobs? What are you thinking?
Ooh, chick, you're pulling out all the stops today, bud. More jobs, less jobs. My guess, I think I said this a while ago, but more jobs. The truth is that I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. The best predictor of the future is what? And that would be the past. So the arc for disruptive technologies. Think the tractor when 80% of jobs were agriculture. Internet in the 2000s, frozen food, which is an excellent parallel to AI, weirdly. 4 stages to new tech are 1, chaos, 2, loss of jobs, 3, wildly profitable companies, 4, more jobs, right? So chaos, lots of jobs, wild profitability of companies, and then more jobs, but different jobs. So I see AI following that same trend. AI will destroy old roles, but they'll create new ones through growth and new industries, right? Like 50% of current job market will be disrupted, let's say, and that's just an arbitrary number that I'm throwing out there. The roles won't disappear. They'll evolve, in my opinion. Those that will disappear, just think routine cognitive work. Think work that's predictable, rule-based, or mental tasks that don't require creativity, discernment, or complex judgment. Stuff with if-then rules, right? Which, by the way, I own the domain name Ifology. Bit of this in mind, but if-then rules, right? If the first of the month hits this person gets paid. The person pays or they get asked to do XYZ on this specific date, right? So like, again, like tasks that are, routine and rule based, like data, you go, okay, give me an example. I would say data entry. I would say basic customer support for sure. Bookkeeping would fall into this, which again is like a task that is very much rule based. Anyway, shoots, that's going to be my answer. I am going to say more jobs, but the truth is, I don't know. They don't know. The trick is to just follow Jeff Bezos's roadmap. And what is that? Step by step, ferociously. So there you go, shoots.
So I don't know how to pivot to this next question because I'm a capitalist through and through, and but the question did come up because it was posed, and I'm like, I wonder how Karl feels about that. Taxing billionaires, like that is right. Like this is a hot topic here, bud. What are your thoughts when it comes to that?
Need to be careful here. You tax rich people, they find a loophole, or they move, right? And why do they move? Because they can. Right? Like the idea, like more money gives you more options, and a wonderful life is one with what? Lots of options. So how many companies and wealthy individuals left California for like Texas and Florida? Like Tony Robbins is one of them. And he openly said, the reason I'm leaving California and moving to Florida is tax, right? And the guy's a billionaire. Like I moved to the Caribbean, right? It's a tax haven. I own 2 acres on the water and don't pay a cent of property tax. I own one house in Canada that is like, it's expensive. It's like $20,000 a year, right? For property taxes alone. So I think a wealth tax makes sense given the right adoption. Why the top 5% can afford a tax hike and it's not going to really affect them. I think in many cases they would welcome it. What is truly mind-boggling, though, is that everyone says we need to tax the rich, but the government takes in billions and billions per year in taxes and wastes it on inept programs and people leaning on shovels. And then the people paying the taxes joke about the people leaning on the shovels, right? So how about asking for accountability on the existing billions of dollars before we go make the slush fund bigger? By taxing the billionaires so they can light even more money on fire, right? The establishment, look, they just play magic tricks, right? Like, look over here while we do this over here where you're not looking. The system really is a bit of a disgrace. Elon Musk tried. That would probably need to be mentioned here. He just saw how bad, I don't know, never spoken to Elon, right? But he saw how bad and corrupt it was. What did he do? He walked away. Right. So I just invite you to think that one through on what he saw, what he did, and then the end result with very noble intentions. Or that was my thought. So like just make politicians accountable to the money's already collected. Then the top 5% would probably happily pay more in taxes, right? And also the average government, quote unquote, legit decision maker is like 60 to 70-year-old years old with assets. All fiscal policy over the last 20 to 30 years has favored 60 to 70-year-olds with assets. And by the way, look it up. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. That's what I see. Don't think I am wrong. But that's the real problem to solve prior to taxing billionaires, which is kind of like the low-hanging fruit topic for the average voter, right? And that's a big part of why that's out there. Anyway, so wealth tax would be something that I would think about and that I think a lot of folks would be in favor of, but I think they would say what I just said and say, well, let's be accountable to the billions you're already taking in before I go and agree to this wealth tax. And if you do that, then show me the wealth tax and go. But that's what I would say, Shoots. But yeah, don't
I
find
got
loopholes.
so many thoughts right there, bud. Like first, we're talking accountability in politicians. Good luck. I don't care what stripes you are. Like, come on, man. It's so crazy. Yeah, wow. Funny, right? Politicians self-serving? Never heard of it. Never. No, not once. Anyways, I'm gonna walk away from that conversation as quickly as I possibly can because otherwise, I'm gonna get into a soapbox. Nobody that. But we talked about wealth. So let's just we talked about 401ks, we talked about billionaire advice, we've talked about accountability. Give us some mental hacks around wealth.
Mental hacks around wealth.
Yeah, just a nice
Hey,
little small conversational piece for you.
yeah, I know. It's well done. Well done. It's the ultimate goal to solve for your clients, right? Said it a second ago, but the best lives have the most options. The reason you want to make lots of money is to have a lot of options. You want to move, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to go on a holiday, you want to take 2 weeks off, you want to take a month off. Profit's a domino that knocks over all the other dominoes. That's kind of that conversation. So ultimate goal to solve, ultimate respect not paid to those who make it. It's paid to those who make it and keep it. We say you can get lucky and make it. You can't get lucky and keep it. Um, like making money takes risk, and then keeping money takes strategy, right? So like I've said this a zillion times, but I'll continue to, but like amateurs want to make it, pros want to keep it. Pros want to multiply it. So I just say around wealth, like overthinking is like a mental race with no finish line. You feel like you're moving, but you don't go or get anywhere. It's like being on a treadmill. It sucks, right? Bad news is overthinking makes you feel like you're progressing and in control. But what is really happening is that you're looping, right? Your brain loves patterns. You got to interrupt it. Get your brain off the hamster wheel, right? Like negative loops crush your happiness and your peace. Insanely common for entrepreneurs like you and me. Shoots when I talk, like neuroscience, right? It has improved knowledge around our brains at like a crazy level, right? So go like number one, your brain has two modes. First mode is quick, emotional, and on autopilot. The second mode is slow, rational, and deliberate. Magic is knowing when to allow mode two to manage your decisions and activities. Like which mode drives Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, and Ray Dalio, the greatest investors and business people of our time, right? Correct. That would be mode two. But to be clear, you need both, right? So understanding that, I think, might have power for your clients. The second thing is like neuroplasticity. Am I saying that right? Neuroplasticity. I'm saying that wrong. Whatever. Hopefully, you know what I'm talking about. It is real, right? They used to think that your brain stopped evolving past about the age 8. And I think that, very dependable science will tell you that that is wildly incorrect. Like learn math, learn accounting, learn a new language, learn our operating system that can be installed in any business to achieve wild profits, become a person that goes to the gym. Your brain rewires itself to adjust to your new learning, your new reality, guys. So that's really good news. Like your brain does not stop evolving past a certain age, right? And then I would go to another one like dopamine isn't about pleasure. It's about anticipation, right? So your quote unquote excitement mode elevates before the reward is provided. That's why like a countdown timer works, open loops work, cliffhangers on TV shows like The Bachelor, Survivor, etc. Like, and big monstrous goals, what do? They drive you. It's not the reward, it's the excitement of the chase that drives your dopamine. So that's why curiosity and open loops work so well in sales. So like a JV loop example. I would say I'm sitting down with a business owner and I said, you realize that a joint venture can solve all of your lead generation issues with absolutely no expense. And I go, wow, what? And I go, great. I know of the perfect 2 JVs for you and your business. And then what do? I go to the next question. You know what I mean? Like I go to the next question, like, okay, do you have a sales process? Do you have a marketing plan? Do you have a business plan? What do you think they're now thinking of? They're thinking of like, who are the joint venture partners that are going to solve all of my lead generation issues, right? So like it's an open loop and their brain wants to close it. Translation, your opportunity to close that sale, which by the way is very, very straightforward, right? You know what I mean? Like all you're doing is identifying 2 local businesses they could joint venture with that would do very well. That's a business coach and an accountant with 300 clients, right? And And again, and I just go to the next question, like, my mentor built a multi-million-dollar business on 4 words: no results, no fee. Or it's a home service business, 4 words: on time, on budget. So what is your market dominating position, right? Like, again, I'm just going to the next question, and basically, they're just hanging to get the answer to the open loop. And by the way, I would say, guess what? And I know exactly, I've got a perfect framework that's going to be able to establish your market dominating position. And they're just dying to know who the JVs are and what the market dominating position is going to be. What do? They sign up. And that's when you fill in the blanks, right? Look, let's get together Monday, get this thing sorted. So I guess kind of translation sheets, your brain isn't a system you should try and control. It's a system to learn, to understand, and manipulate in your favor. Help it expand in a positive way. And that's why they'd say, readers are leaders, right? No doubt you've heard that before. Absolutely. I don't know, Warren Buffett, you tell me if it's working well. Bill Gates, love him, hate him. The reality, the guy used to take reading holidays, right? So I would just circle that back to the ultimate respect, not paid to those who make it. It is paid to those who make it and keep it. And the 2 words that very seldom come together: old and rich. When you meet an old, rich person, I would just go, you got 2 ears, 1 mouth. What should you do? You got to listen and learn. And by the way, ask questions and then implement the thinking they demonstrate and what they talk about. But yeah, Shoots, that's what I'd give you, like mental health. That is the ultimate problem to solve, Shoots.
Okay.
That's what I'd say.
You just said implement. So let's put a bow. Let's put the cherry on top of this little bad boy here. And why don't you close us out? Bring this home. Something that they can implement. What's one thing that they can walk away and implement from today's podcast right now, Shoots?
Shoots. I'm going to go to the mental hacks. Again, I think that there's a lot of fear around AI, and it's going to take everybody's job, right? And like, is that the case? I don't know. It's like the optimistic people run the world, right? And it's like, you know what? There's a reason why I'm going to the side of optimism, semi-naturally, right? And clinging onto it. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, there's going to be some blood in the streets and whatnot. But you know what? Let's just get positive with what's to come, as opposed to, negative and, be worried that we're going to go the way of the dinosaur. Like AI, yes, it's disruptive, but there's also going to be unbelievable opportunities, right? And again, mental hacks around wealth. Like, your brain is not, you didn't stop learning, at a certain age, and now you can't evolve it. Like, that science has been, the science is very, and by the way, do your own homework. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I would encourage you to go on the side of optimism here. But the reality is that you can learn wildly new stuff, whatever that might be. So, and by the way, your clients can do the same, and go on the side of optimism that your brain is not wired to be a certain way. You are not disorganized. You are not a procrastinator. You might be acting like a procrastinator, and you might be operating like somebody who's disorganized, but guess what? Do the work. Don't try to solve it in a day, right? Step by step, ferociously. So you improve 1% for 365 days. And what happens? You get a 37x. So I don't care how disorganized you are right now. If you 37x your talents, you'll be wildly organized in the not too distant future. And by the way, there's nothing in the world that AI could do better than help you and help your clients become significantly more organized. So it's, you know what I mean? And again, so my daughter, she gets out of the car, and we've got this routine where, like, it's, I love you and you're amazing. And then she says, I am amazing. She says, I am healthy. And we have this little routine, and it ends with the last thing she says before she gets out of the car. And then her best friend comes up, and she always runs through a little thing also. And the last thing that they say is, AI is my bitch. And by the way, she's 12 years old, and I know that sounds a little bit crass. And it's not, what I mean? I'm not there telling my daughter, like, I'm not getting her to say things like that on a regular basis, but I do think this is very important. Why? Because she's worried, and very much, amongst her friends and, in the circles that she's, rolling around in at the ripe old age of 12, is that AI is going to be a negative for her. So why do I say AI is my bitch? Why do I get her to say that? Because I'm like, yeah, AI is going to take jobs away from people. Do you know who AI is not going to take a job away from? And I go, you, right? And that's that's the genesis of that. And I'm just trying to help her with thinking that no, AI is not going to take anything away from me. It is going to help me, right? So I was just saying a second ago, like, if you feel like you're disorganized, and by the way, for an entrepreneur, is that common? The answer is hard yes. Well, you could use AI at a ridiculous level to help you become significantly more organized, and I would encourage you to do so. But that might be a little bit intimidating at first. So guess what? 1% per day, 365 days, you 37 extra talents around that area, and AI was your bitch. AI allowed you to do it. So there you go, Shoots. And by the way, I feel like I'm lacking maybe a little bit of energy today, Shoots. I've been sick as a dog all weekend. So hopefully we rocked it. There you go.
Well, I got to say, maybe you need to get sick more often. I feel like this is a record number of questions answered in a record time. So this is amazing. This is truly
Shoots.
amazing.
My brain is not working the way it normally does, Shoot. So that might be part of it. Anyways, there you go. Hope it was good.
All right, folks. Well, you know what? Thanks for hanging with us for another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. Here's the deal, okay? If you want more of this every single day, Karl sends out daily emails packed with coaching strategies, client wins, the stuff that's actually moving the needle right now. So head over to focus.com, get on the inside. It's where the real work happens. And hey, if this episode helped you, do us a solid, share with another coach. Whoever just needs to hear it. Leave us a review if you're feeling generous. We're on a mission to impact as many coaches as possible. And you sharing the show, it makes that happen. So that is it for another week, folks. We will see you in the next episode. And remember, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.